Rest is something our world desperately needs. And as followers of Jesus, we're to operate out of a place of rest, to show the world there's beauty in stopping. So, how do we do that? Tip number 1, Sabbath. Sabbath is one of those things often debated, but we're here to learn how to rest. And Sabbath was created, designed, and gifted to you for your rest. How do we practice Sabbath? Well, we get to take a full 24 hours to rest, recharge, refocus, and be refreshed. It might mean going for a walk in creation, sitting down to read a good book, feasting with friends or family, and so much more. It's about enjoying God from a place of rest, not work. It means not doing all your jobs and chores you need to do. It's resting. Choosing to acknowledge the world will go on even when we take 24 hours to simply rest and be. It's time to remind yourself who you are and whose you are. Whatever you find restful and isn't considered work, that's how you Sabbath. But don't be too strict with it. Jesus healed on the Sabbath, teaching us not to be selfish with it, but to love God and love others through it. Tip number 2, retreat. Retreat is pulling back. It means to pull away from the busyness of the world for a time to be with God. And maybe it's a day, a week, a month. You could book a B&B for a night, go camping, ask to stay in a friend's guest room. Take your Bible, a journal, some music, an instrument. Retreat isn't just a holiday. Its purpose is to recharge you spiritually, as well as mentally, physically, and emotionally. You might find it helpful to plan how you're going to purposefully rest. Also, don't bring your work with you. Leave that behind. You can find retreat centers designed to help you rest and get away. And retreat can be a beautiful place to simply listen to the creator of the universe. Tip number 3, switch off. This is the practice of learning to simply be with your own thoughts and the presence of God. If you're constantly thinking of the next thing to do, whether for work or personally, and you can't simply switch off for a time, then this is for you. Switch off your phone, your laptop, the TV. Disconnect from social media for an evening. Think of it like a mini retreat. Inner rest comes from walking peacefully in the presence of God. You know you're rested when there's no technology, you can sit with God in silence, and you're actually content. Work up to it. Switch off everything for 30 minutes, simply be, and let your spirit become aware of God's spirit. Your mind might race at first, but with practice, it'll become easier and much more enjoyable. So there's 3 tips for you. There's a lot in there, so don't feel the pressure to apply all of this at once. Maybe integrate one idea and see how it goes for a while. But to recap, tip number 1, Sabbath. Tip number 2, retreat. And tip number 3, switch off. You'll find some extra resources to help you with rest in the Discover More section of this episode.